This is Rostra, the St. Theodore Guerin Junior Classical League podcast, where we bring the lessons of classical study into the light for the benefit of all.
Welcome back to another episode of Rostra. We've got another dual guest episode today. This is an incredibly fun topic. In fact, we were just talking about it before we started to record here. We've got Andrew Clidence and Johnny Quinn with us today. Gentlemen, start right off. What's your topic?
Roman chariot racing.
Roman chariot racing, absolutely. And a lot of people know our school is located in Indiana, so you think about the Indy 500. We are a racing state, so this is so exciting. So kick it off. First off, why did you guys pick that?
We kind of picked it because it was different from all the other topics. There were Greek gods on it and other famous Roman people in history. But this one was not like the other ones, so.
Yeah, a lot of the others, I mean, I'll be honest, there's maybe some heavy topics. It's history, it's mythology, like you said, and this is just straight up fun. Yeah. This is sports, it's fun. So talk to us, what I think probably people have an idea, but what's Roman chariot racing all about?
So Roman chariot racing was obviously people in chariots, racing with horses in the front.
And there's one of our bells, so we'll just kind of ignore that. Before you go on, let's talk about a chariot, because I don't want to just make the assumption everybody knows what that is. So, how to describe it? What was a chariot, and how was it powered?
So the chariot was like a wooden, you were seated in the wooden chair, and it was two wheels.
Right.
You had horses in the front, and you would rein the horses, and it was not very safe.
We'll get to that. So first off, you're exactly right. So it's a two-wheeled vehicle, and sometimes, if in fact in modern days, you almost think about those segways that people will ride around sometimes in a city.
Yeah.
Again, it's a two-wheeled sort of transportation, and then you're right. You had horses in the front pulling the thing. So I think it's funny. Probably as soon as the first wheel was invented, and we'll never know who that was, whoever invented the first wheel, I guarantee you 5 minutes later somebody was making a race out of this thing, because it's just our nature. And so Romans did the same thing. We're going to definitely want to get to the danger part here at some point. Describe a little bit about the races themselves. What was that like?
Yeah, so it was I read it was 7 laps around a track, and there were about 10 to 12 chariot racers going on, and it was in a big arena, I guess.
Yep.
I forget what it was called, but I guess it was super popular, even more popular than the Gladiators.
It was crazy popular, and as far as that goes, it's just like modern. Honestly, car racing, modern horse racing, you think the Kentucky Derby. You basically have a track, an oval track, and you got people going around in an oval until you see who wins. Yeah. It was insanely popular. Probably the big one you're thinking about is the Circus Maximus. Yeah. Literally the word circus, or circus in Latin. Obviously, we think about circus, we think about clowns and trapeze acts and all that kind of thing. Really, circus was just a racetrack. And so the Circus Maximus, or the Circus Maximus, was literally the biggest racetrack in the Roman Empire, located in Rome, and tremendously popular. Tremendously popular. Tell us a little bit more. So you said you're going around in laps, lots of chariots out there on the track. Let's go back to what you were saying a moment ago about the danger of this.
Yeah, so from what I read, they hit up to speeds to 40 miles an hour, which is kind of ridiculous to think about. They had no protection or anything, so they were just flying around 40 miles an hour. So the crashes were obviously super dangerous because they were going so fast, and they had no protection, unlike a race car, you're all trapped in the car and stuff. So I think that's partially what made it so interesting to the Romans, because they loved the gory, violent, whatever, and the crashes obviously made it more interesting. Even like in IndyCar, I think, like, this isn't great to say, but like the crashes kind of make it more interesting.
We've got to acknowledge that, right? If we
Yeah.
didn't say that, we wouldn't be telling the truth about any of these sports.
Yeah.
You could say that it's wrong, and I would agree that it is, but nevertheless, it's human nature, right? Ooh, there's a crash, and everybody gets out of their seats and wants to see kind of what's happening. So clearly, without any of the protective gear, none of that kind of stuff, not even anything really to strap you into the chariot itself, you're going to have significant danger factor there. Okay, so talk to us. What else? You got chariots going around in an oval. What else about this is exciting?
I read that there was up to like 25 races a day. So like they'd do one and then it'd be like a quick lap around, like a winner's lap, like how Indy 500 does it. Then like they're done and they do the next race for the day.
And I don't know if you guys are into horse racing, but at a lot of horse racing tracks, lots of races throughout the day. And one of the reasons you may or may not know about that is gambling. People love to bet on horse races. And, we're, betting on so-and-so in the second race or so-and-so in the fourth race of the day and that kind of thing. Romans were huge gamblers, and they loved to gamble on the different racing teams. In fact, did you find anything else or find anything about the racing teams or any of the colors that they used?
No, but I did read that it was like more fun for the fans because they could have like a favorite person where like as the gladiators, like he could die any second, like your favorite guy, and it was like known by the colors, like, and they would like wear like the blue and gold or whatever.
That's exactly right. And you think about, it's so funny to me, we go to sporting events and again, we're here in Indiana, so we'll use the Pacers and the Colts, and you go there and all the fans are wearing Pacers and Colts gear. Right, and we're wearing the jerseys that have our favorite players' names across the back. We're doing that. Ancient Romans were the same way. So you had these what they called racing factions, or we would just call them racing teams. And you had nothing terribly exciting. You had the blues, the reds, the greens, the whites. They were just named after colors. But people were diehard about their particular color of racing team. And if you cheered for the Blues, you always cheered for the Blues, right? And you thought the Reds would never win. And then the red people were like, the Reds are always the best, And it gets exactly the same. And it is one of the neat things over time you realize just how similar people are across time and across cultures there. So good. Keep going. What else you guys have?
I found something about kind of the greatest of all time chariot racer. His name was Gaius Appius Diocles.
Yeah.
He won a quarter of any race he was racing in, and it says that he won up to 17 million in US dollars, which was kind of ridiculous because I know I read that the racers could go for from rags to riches. They weren't super well known, and then when they started winning, it was right. They were celebrities in Rome.
And again, same thing with us. It's that, here's somebody who can do something that is really cool. Mm-hmm. I want to see it, and so therefore that person gains the popularity and the money as well. And I can't help, I'm kind of looking at your notes there. I can see you've got the word NASCAR written down. What's that got to do with
I was just
anything?
relating to NASCAR, and I thought partially why we picked it because obviously Indiana's the racing capital of the world, and it was just fun to learn about the ancient races that they had and just relate it to NASCAR and IndyCar today.
I think there's a lot of things the ancient Romans would not understand about modern culture or would be surprised at in modern culture. The Indy 500, the Brickyard 400, Daytona, they would have no problem understanding that. That would make total sense to them, and I think they would be absolutely thrilled by that. Anything else that you got on there that you want to make sure you are letting people know?
I just thought it was cool, with how many races they did do. The Gaius Appius, the guy I was talking about earlier.
Right.
It says that he raced in over 4,000 races, which is just, insane because, the Indy 500 takes, 3 hours, and people only race in, if you have a really long career, you can race in, 20 Indy 500s and stuff.
Right.
But
And well, as you said, you're talking about the number of laps and so forth. Our races do go longer, and so then they're really not as often. I mean, if you think about the number of races we have, so the opportunity to race that much wouldn't even happen there. Curious little thing, did you find out or come across how they marked the change of laps in a chariot race?
I didn't find that. No.
It was so strange. They had a wooden pole, and on this pole they had metal dolphins. And at the end of each race, end of each lap, you would turn the dolphin nose down, and that's how you knew that lap was done. And then the next lap, and the next lap. And so you watch the turning of the dolphins just to track the laps weird. There. So, so good stuff. Anything else?
How much would they win per race? Would they race multiple races per day, or would they just be done after?
Oh no, I absolutely could race. You're talking about an individual driver? Yeah, individual driver could certainly race multiple in a day. One of the challenges about trying to determine that, and even that comment that you had earlier about how much money that would be in U.S. dollars, it is very difficult to impossible to make the connection or the comparison between ancient monetary values and modern. Yeah. And you think about it, take the US dollar against the euro. How much is the dollar worth against the euro? Well, it changes almost every day. Now, not a lot, all right? The dollar may be up a little bit, the dollar may be down a little bit against the euro, but there's still a little bit of fluctuation almost every day. Over the space of a year, over the space of a decade, you can see how, oh, wow. And then over 2,000 years, it's very difficult to make that comparison. But as you guys were saying, you could make a decent living with this. And, if you're successful, if you didn't die, in this fairly dangerous sport, you became really, really quite popular. So, good stuff. Well, and I just had to make mention because we were talking about it earlier. There is that Beach Boys song, Fun, Fun, Fun.
Thank you for listening to Rostra. You may check out all our episodes on Spotify and follow us on social media at GuerinJCL. That's at GuerinJCL.